All right, Mushin Warriors. Welcome to another episode here at Mushin Mental Academy, where our purpose is to provide you with tools for engagement in the present. Today's episode is going to be centered around flow state, and we're going to cover some of the questions like what is flow state, how does it pertain to Mushin and engagement in the present, and how can we achieve flow state and remain in it. So let's jump in. We'd be amiss if we didn't start by mentioning one of the fathers of this topic itself, who is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This individual is an American-Hungarian professor that made it his life purpose to discover and seek out what brings people happiness and fulfillment. So he grew up through some very tough times after wars around his area and saw a lot of poverty, and he wanted to see, what people actually enjoyed and what really brings them fulfillment because he realized material goods and things of that nature weren't quite it. So he went over and asked peak performers in every single subject, whether the top chess players, top athletes, or painters, you know, what does it look like and what does it feel like when you're at your peak? And what he found is that all of them were able to respond in basically the same way. They all described the same feelings and had the same sorts of physiological occurrences happening to them in those states. So he decided to call that flow state. So let's go ahead and jump into flow state itself. What did he describe as the characteristics found there? Well, flow state is a state where it feels like everything is in harmony and the person is able to have complete focus in what they're doing. It almost feels as if they have like a voice in their mind and they know what to do next. Actions are coming seamlessly without any interrupted thoughts or distractions coming through into play. Now, in these peak performers, what he also found is that it seemed to be for the nature of the activity itself or whatever it was. So when he's following painters, for example, he would notice that they would usually finish whatever they're doing and they would put the piece up against the wall and continue and start a new painting instead of just sitting there looking at the old one. So it's really for like the purpose itself and for the moments there. And the reason being is that when you are at your peak performance or in a flow state, everything else seems to disappear. Time dilates and hours can go by in minutes, or it can even slow down and really become, active into each of those moments depending on what's going on. So how does flow state pertain to Mushin and to our tools of engagement in the present? Well, flow state is Mushin and direct engagement in the presence for a period of time. It's the ability to remain without distraction and just be there. So, what are some of the ways that we can achieve flow state? Well, flow state is found when you mix novelty with challenge and ability. So seeking out different and new learning, situations or things that we can do that are going to put us in a position of, challenge where we're going to be growing past who we already currently are and what we're already doing. Now, it's very important to find the balance in there because if the challenge is too low, the task could become controlled or even mundane. But if the challenge is too high, then we feel discouraged and we don't want to continue. But right in that sweet spot, that's where we find our peak performance at. It's right where we're able to push ourselves and just have 100% focus on what we're doing. It's almost as if everything else goes away and nothing matters. There's no suffering, there's no inhibitions or thoughts in the back of our mind. Oh, did I do this? Did I do that? No. You only have the moment and what you're doing. And that is flow state, and that's how you can enter into flow state. Now, some of the ways to remain in it are to avoid distraction and to make sure, well, honestly, to avoid distraction is the main thing. And the way to do that is to practice it, you know? So either through different forms of meditation or setting up our environment around us, let's put our phone off or put it into a different room. These are a lot of the suggestions from actually Stephen Kotler as well, who does a lot of work with flow state too. And by setting the correct set and setting for us, so internally and where we are, we're able to truly be in the moment and engage in that presence. And that's how you can remain in flow state and achieve the benefits from it, which should be useful for anybody looking to learn something new or to, release any kind of suffering, or if they have those thoughts in the back of their mind. That's one of the ways to get rid of it. So I find that pretty cool. So hopefully you guys have taken some value from this particular video on flow state. I'll leave some details in the description about Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, about Stephen Kotler as well, so that if you want to go do a little bit additional research, you can. This is a little bit more on the basics and introduction for you. And next week's video is going to be about autotelic works, what that means, how those pertain to Mushin and presence in the moment, and I look forward to seeing you then.